Hello. Sorry, tired. Still waking up. Oh, I only just woke up about a half hour ago. So this is yet another fanfiction review. Uh, as always, link to the story in the description. Please like, subscribe. Uh, I guess I should might as well start saying this. Follow my Twitter because I'll probably talk about like wrestling on there or something like that. I don't know. I don't really use Twitter that much. Just me. And no, I'm not even going to use Facebook ever. I don't trust Facebook. Never will. Never have. Yada yada yada. So the story I'm reviewing this time is Priceless by Galaxy 1001D. Of course, it's another big fan fiction because I still have a long way to go because I said I have to review his whole series. Ta-da! Except if I look at this thing, he hasn't updated his like latest one, Act 39, and I'm at Act 30. So I'm getting there. So this story is actually. It's somewhat like interesting. While I like the last one I did, 9 Uses of Death, I really do like Priceless, and I think I can make the argument that I can easily switch between the two because I really, really like them. So the plot actually introduces a new character, and I might as well talk about the new character before I get into the plot and everything else. So the new character is a guy named Danny Kirk. He is in this world the mentor of Roger Smith. Everything Roger knew about negotiating came from him. He's very gregarious. He's very uproariously. I gave him like a very bombastic voice, like Danny Kirk. And he's kind of key to the whole lesson behind the story. So the plot is Roger's dealing with an existential crisis. This is something I noticed throughout like any of the flashback scenes in Big O and such, and I'm happy that it was brought up in this story, and that's the fact that Roger somehow everyone around him is aged except for him. He constantly heals like ridiculous. I know it's like anime plot armor sort of thing, but just roll with me here. The fact that they mention it is like enough to be supposed to be pretty good idea. And he's worried that he might be an android, and this of course pisses off Dorothy Wainwright, who is an android. All the while, walking through the desert, a mysterious black Megaduce is walking towards Paradigm City, which is another thing I'll mention in a little bit. So the plot introduces Danny Kirk again, who decides to meet with Roger and gives him a gun. Asks him and said, I'm going senile. I'm losing my memory. What?
What are you talking about?
I'm making a video. Go away. Show. That was my little brother. Anyway. He's going senile. He's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. If you don't know what Alzheimer's is, it's a mental disorder that affects the memory parts of the brain, especially the hippocampus, and likewise. It destroys the short-term memory, and then it starts slowly eroding the long-term memory. And Danny Kirk, he doesn't like that. He wants to go out as like the person he wants to remember him by. So I guess it's fair because he wants Roger to kill him because he feels like that's a death worthy of Danny Kirk. And I really like the idea. I mean, I'm not a big fan of suicide because it is technically a type of suicide. Take it from me. I know suicide. I had to deal with that problem all of my life. And that's probably the only reason why I don't put this above 9 Uses of Death, because I don't like that suicide thing. Well, I guess it's kind of it's hard to describe, honestly. So Roger says no, because he said, I'm not going to kill you. Yeah, you're losing your memory again, because if you watch Big O, you know everyone lost their memory in the show about 40 years ago, and now Danny Kirk's losing his memory again. And so after that, he talks to Dorothy. He hangs out with Dorothy, and he realizes, I don't age. I don't have any scars, like even when there should be scars. What am I? And so he goes through this big identity crisis, figure out who or what he is, and it pisses off Dorothy. And he even meets up with Schwartzwald, because Big O literally disappears, like poof. Where you go? How could a gigantic 100-foot tall robot disappear? Maybe it walked off. I don't know. And the meeting with Schwarzwald revealed that the whole reason Big O left is because the whole idea of one truth. Roger doesn't know who he is anymore, so it's like, well, Big O he can't pilot Big O anymore because of the simple fact he doesn't know who he is. He has no identity. He has no one united self-truth to pilot Big O, and because he got nightmares, started getting the visions, especially a new vision where he become a part of Big O, and he has the cables like Alex Rosewater and Big Fow. And so after that, Dorothy goes to meet with Danny Kirk. They meet up. Danny treats her like a woman, because that's another thing. Roger treats her like a robot and pisses her off, but Danny treats her like a woman. And he basically tells Dorothy, act more like a woman, Despite the fact he kind of says in a gross place, saying, "I said you're a robot. Do you put out? Are you able to? Are you actually able to put out your robot? Are you like anatomy correct down there?" And she's like, "What? Nice." And she basically said, and he basically kind of teaches her how to grow, how to be like more human, in a subtle ways, like, oh, show at least a little more emotion, keep Roger off his game, slap him if necessary, which she does twice, which I found funny, especially like at the end of the story. It said, "I love you." Oh, thank you. And Norman does too, like a family. Roger, there is something on your face. What? A bruise. I was like, ow. I slapped myself a little hard. Ow. Ow. I hurt. And the story kind of grows from there. The other stories didn't focus more on Dorothy they focus more on Roger and tying up all the loose ends of the anime to move forward everything. Except for Nine Years of Death, but Nine Years of Death didn't really have Dorothy that much. But I finally like the growth of Dorothy, and finally when the Mega Zeus attacks, Roger is able to summon Big O, but the other Mega Zeus looks pretty much like Big O, which is another which I find another thing I really liked, because the anime never touched upon whether or not all the visions in the anime that Roger had were real. I mean, the book burning, the barcodes, the army of Big Fows, Big O's, and Big Duos. But it's like not even the creator. I guess when if the creator was going to make another season, which he was planning to, they probably might have touched upon that a little bit. But I was like, okay, so yeah, it's finally touched upon. And, well, I guess, of course, the Mega Juice wants Dorothy's memories. But Danny Kirk, he's already going senile. He's always going dead. He's already dying. He considers himself dead. He offers himself to the Mega Juice. And this part I really, really liked. Danny Kirk got hooked up through the spine, just like Alex Rosewater, but he didn't go mad. He got his memories back from 40 years ago. I'm dead serious. That's actually what happens in the story. And then he remembers who he is. He was a sailor. He was in the Navy. He was a navigator. And he even remembers his real name, but he decides to I'm still Danny Kirk because of course I am. And then he leaves, and then him and what he calls Big Uno goes to find his hometown, and Danny promises he'll be back to explain everything that happened. And I like that because it also branches off on the whole idea that, Danny Kirk will come back. We're just going to anticipate it. When he comes back, I mean, he'll easily, it's a valuable plot point that I really like, that, instantly catches people's minds, instantly gives them a sequel hook, saying that, here's a plot point. Here's Danny Kirk is gonna come back. I mean, unless he abandons the series, and if he continues, sooner or later, Danny is gonna come back. He's gonna come back, because that's the only way I can feasibly see the stories ending with Danny Kirk coming back, him and Roger teaming up to literally find out the reality of what happened 40 years ago with cost everyone's memories. It makes the most sense. I don't know if he's gonna finish the story because again he hasn't updated in like 2 months, 3 months. But it makes a lot of sense. And this guy I like world. So characters. I like the fact that so that's the plot. I really like the plot. I like the new character that was added, dovetailing into character development. I like the growth of Dorothy and Roger. Dorothy in particular, I really like the growth of Dorothy. Roger, okay, his existential crisis is good, but it's like, yeah, it could have been done better, but I still like what the author done with it. I don't know what I would do to improve it, but it seems to be like missing one thing. I don't know. That's just me. Grammar is fabulous as always. Pacing and imagery. The imagery is great. For some reason, I seem to like picture it as the actual anime, like I'm watching an episode of the anime, and like the cuts and everything. Like when Big O comes out, I see, it's like I see, and the prairie dog and stuff like that. Pacing, it's a little slower pace. I honestly would have preferred this story over 9 Minutes to Death to be two-parter because it because I really wanted. Honestly, it's more a selfish reason than like a rating or anything. I wanted to see more Kirk. I wanted to see more of him. I love the character of Danny Kirk. He is so awesome. He is so upbeat and everything. It's like, oh, I want to go out a hero. I want to go out like it's in a blaze of glory, not like a senile old man. You know, not even remembering who he is, or who everyone is. So it's like, okay. And finally, connection to genre and emotional investment. This is probably the easiest story. I gotta. Yeah. Okay, so it's a drama sci-fi, yeah, I guess I can easily see the drama with like the whole crisis and the two stories of Dorothy and Roger trying to find themselves and improve themselves in a way. The sci-fi. I guess it's better for the course since Vigo is essentially a sci-fi esque anime. I can't really say anything. Uh, I can't really say anything. Emotionally invested. I got easily emotionally invested because as always, like the best stories are the ones that you can easily suck yourself into, that you can feel along with the stories, that you just want to be there, and you're just and you're actually physically seeing all their emotions go on their face and everything. It's just so easy, especially all three characters, Kirk, or Smith, and Wainwright, all growing. You feel for them. Um, Again, connection drama. I can easily see sci-fi. I think personally, I would have kept it just strict drama because it really feels like a strict drama. And finally, so emo. Uh, would I recommend it? Favorite part and final thoughts. Okay. So would I recommend it? Yeah, I would. I would recommend this just as much as Black. 9 Years of Death. Favorite part? The entire ending, really. Just the part, or more specifically, the whole part, like when Big Uno kind of attacks because he's just trying to grab Dorothy. He's like, it's like, hey, out of the way, hey, out of the way, copycat. I'm trying to get the girl. No, no. And Danny Kirk, remembering which I'm glad was finally touched upon, despite the fact it's left ambiguous because I really want to see him come back for like an arc, or probably Galaxy 1001D. Make a separate series about the adventures of Danny Kirk. I would love to see that. I would either make a separate story with him coming back, or just a separate mini series of his adventures trying to find the town where he grew up, and he wants to see if it still exists, and him meeting all these people and proving and finally remember and just everything that happened is like either one would be better. Yeah, either one would be good, and I really love to see that. Final thoughts. Those were my final thoughts actually. I can't wait for more because I know the next story in the series is actually a two-parter. It's actually told in two parts. Oh, and there was a reference to Batman in this story. Danny Kirk called Norman Alfred because, as we all know, Roger Smith is anime Batman. That means Norman is Alfred Pennywise. Yeah. oh, Danny Kirk. You never see this. Danny Kirk. Because who are you? Why, I'm Danny Kirk, negotiator extraordinaire for cheap hotel prices. So, I'm Dark Symphony 777, and that's it for this review. I'll see you next episode, either a reading or a review or some other video. And cut.